Alrighty, folks. One of the things I love about One Rental at a Time is our ability to pull together folks with lots of different experience, different functions, but still care about giving back. This is something we call the Hub Call. It traditionally is Carlos, Matt, and Ty, but Ty can't make it this morning. We're going to start this conversation in the order that people showed up. And Carlos, you were first today. What's going on in your world? What are you thinking about? What's top of mind?
Well, I'm grateful for just having the opportunity to be here and just life. Life is moving, and I just finished telling you, um, with the economy the way it is, the way you have me on the edge. I'm wondering what's going to happen next, and how does that affect a common man, and what to do. And I was just mentioning to you that I enjoyed your Zuber letter because it's very helpful. To understand what you can do, because the first thing you said on your letter was cowards lose.
Yeah.
And at this moment, I think we can't be afraid. We can't be
Yeah.
afraid. Opportunity is there, and that's actually what I tell myself every time I drive away. Opportunities out there. Opportunities
Yeah.
out there, and it's all about mindset. It's about being grateful, and again, just being here, surrounding myself with you guys, and educating myself. I hope that a lot of people can take advantage of being uh, watching YouTube, your channel, and joining school, because it's important. Even over the weekend, being at Easter, having conversation with other people.
Yeah.
There's conversations that I listen to are very, and I always come with a different angle, and only because most of the guys are not listening to One Renter at a Time. They're not
Yeah.
listening to Matt the Mortgage or Ty. And so my insights about the economy, it's probably something that they don't hear because they hear regular TV or
Right.
whatever they talk in the water cooler. Yeah.
Yeah, so let's talk about that because there's a lot in that. So first and foremost, if you guys don't know what Zuber Letter is, it's basically a collaboration between myself,
Yeah.
Lance Lambert at Resi Club, where we take one concept of the week and really stretch it out in long form, written form. It's absolutely 100% free. Just go to zuberletter.com, put your email address, and you will get the weekly summaries of one of the concepts. This week being, I think it was the 13 mistakes over the last 5 years. Second, Carlos, I think there's a lot of people in the economy right now that are quote unquote on edge.
Mhm.
We are going through something that no one since Smoot Hawley has been through, right? 95 years ago, we enacted significant tariffs, these ones currently being more than that, which many people highlight that led or at least made the Great Depression worse. So being on edge right now it's okay. It's okay. It's an acknowledgement that the times are different. What I try to do with One Rental at a Time is really twofold. One is I've got to get people to click on my videos, right? So I am clearly using titles that lean fear, no doubt. However, you know this, Matt knows this, and my audience, my loyal fans know this. The content has never changed. We acknowledge what's going on. We try to be the middle of the road, call balls and strikes. But most importantly, it's about opportunity. As somebody who has lived through plenty of once in a lifetime events, the dot-com crash, 9/11, the great financial crisis, COVID, I promise you one thing and one thing only. Most people right now are scared, on
Mhm.
edge. What happens for most people who aren't getting this information, they just they either A, stick their head in the ground and hope it passes them by, or B, they start making poor financial decisions long term. How many times have you heard buy low, sell high? How many times have you heard most people buy high and sell low? Right? There are people today, undoubtedly, chasing gold. Gold is up 100% in 5 years. It's up $100 today. There are no doubt people that are going to chase gold, and who knows, maybe take it to 4,000 an ounce. It's all possible. We never know. But that's chasing. How many people today are looking at their portfolio, which was unbalanced, was too much of the Mag 7 or these internet, this, that, or the other, Web 2.0, and they're down 50, 60%, and they sell versus going back? That's just the human condition.
Mhm.
What I want people to realize is I'm trying to create a movement. 2025 is the year of the investor. It's the time that you have less demand, more supply, and most importantly, more motivated sellers. There are plenty of people that are going to offer properties, assets, stocks, whatever it is, at a discount because they're scared. It's an investor's job to strike when there's opportunity. You make your money when you buy. The best time to buy is when nobody else is buying because you get to name the price. Also, in real estate, we have the added benefit of doing seller financing or creative financing. So I am not telling anybody to buy blindly. That's stupid. What I'm telling them to do is go figure out what an average deal is, go figure out what a great deal is. And today, if you're in the market today and you only got one bullet in the gun to do a deal, you should try to do a deal of the decade. It should be that good that you get an outstanding deal or terms or whatever. And the other thing I love about this call is both you and Matt are small business owners. Your competition is also scared, is also on edge. It is so easy to be in the top 1% today because everybody else just quits. So again, I am all for appreciating the unusual circumstance the U.S. economy seems to be in today. But that creates opportunity because most people are afraid. Matt, we're going to throw it to you now. Again, lots of stuff going on. You're in the thick of it with mortgage. What's going on in your world?
Yeah, like you said, people are afraid. I just got off a call, and a colleague of mine, as we're doing a Monday market update, we're talking about, mortgage-backed securities and real estate and the state of the market. We should be in, the beginning innings of a spring buying market, which is more buyer activity. And quite frankly, we're not. He called it the great pause of 2025. And, that's something to think about when qualified buyers press pause and they don't buy a home. It doesn't mean that they're out of the game forever. What it means and what I visualize in my head is more and more people going to this quote unquote waiting room. And so it just keeps building on pent up demand, whether that pent up demand moves with a 0.5% lower in interest rate, whether that pent up demand moves when there's more certainty around tariffs and the economy, whatever it is, I don't know. But I remember, I'll probably butcher the story, but people talk about, when there's a snowstorm and McDonald's is really slow because people don't want to go out in the snowstorm. And so those are sales that will never happen because you can't buy tonight's dinner 2 days from now. Right. But the Apple store, who's got a slow sale on laptops, if school starts in a month, those are just sales that are going to happen next week or 2 weeks when the snowstorm passes. And that's what's going on, in my opinion, in real estate is economic uncertainty, higher interest rates, affordability is the snowstorm. When that passes, or there's even a little bit of sunshine that comes through the clouds, there is so much pent up demand. People need the laptops before school. They're going to buy. They just don't know when. And so it really will be interesting to see what that does in the future with the whole supply and demand equation and what that will do to prices. Because there's been interesting stuff around new forecasts for future home price appreciation as well. So it's the great pause right now for 2020.
I think that's an excellent name. Kudos to whoever came up with that, the great pause. And again, I kind of think of housing. And again, you guys know this. I don't have a great call for transactions in 25, right? I think transactions are going to be the lowest of this cycle. They get better next year. But to me, it's really like a garden hose. All of us, we're younger and we played with garden hose, right? You kink it, it stops it, but the pressure keeps building and building. You just don't know what's going to eventually unlock that. And I think you brought up two things that really I think we can effectively say eventually will happen. We just can't put a time on. Okay. I think it is fair to say that sometime between now and some unknown date in the future, rates will go down.
Yeah.
Right. Is it July? Is it November? Is it March? Right? We don't know. I think that's fair. And the other thing we have evidence over the last 3 years that 6.5 or below brings people off the sidelines. And heaven forbid we get sub 6.
Mm-hmm.
So these are known knowns. What is unknown is when that happens. Secondarily, we have the great pause because of this tariff kerfuffle. We have effectively created a man-made, actually presidential-made environment where we have taken uncertainty, consumer investment, and business confidence to shockingly low levels in a short period of time. That does not bode well for making the largest financial decision ever, i.e. buying a home, right? You don't do that when you lack confidence. You wait. But again, because this is man-made by a single individual, it can be reversed by a single individual. And suddenly, the sun is out again. And again, we don't know when that's coming. Is it in the next 90 days? Does that get extended? Who knows? But I think it is fair to say that this too shall pass. But unfortunately, the unknown is when. It's a known that it'll pass. We just don't know. So again, as small business owners, what are you supposed to do? Well, you're probably supposed to continue building pipeline, get that longer list, stay in contact with people, realize they're uncertain. Carlos, your job is to reach out to your Rolodex, talk about preventative maintenance, talk about, repairs versus remodels. Let's watch your pennies, folks, and let's get to the other side of this. Matt, your job is to continue build the Rolodex, get more and more people pre-qualified, know when people want to buy. Is it 6 3/4? Is it 6.5? Is it 6 1/4? And again, you're not going to get those deals today, i.e. the snowstorm, but those deals will come. Right. And you just want to be ready with the biggest pile of people coming. So, Matt, what do you think of all that?
Yeah, for sure. And I think that there's, something to be said about these conversations. There's going to be people that don't even know what bucket they're in, who through a conversation, whether that be with a mortgage broker, whether it be with their spouse, is going to decide maybe now is the time. Maybe now when everybody is afraid, we go out there and we write an offer and we get something 20,000 below what the neighbor paid. Or through that conversation, they go, you know what? We're going to wait until this date. Or, waiting for an interest rate number is a really weird thing to do. And a lot of times, some of the things that come up in these conversations, I always encourage people, have the conversation, get yourself pre-approved, because you might find stuff out. And it's not that I'm a genius. It's that it's an interactive conversation where you say something and then I go, oh, well, now that I know that, I've experienced this. And then you realize stuff just through having the conversation. But maybe, just maybe, you realize, oh, you know what? If I can get that for $20,000 less than my neighbor, maybe I do that now. Maybe I take 6.875, knowing that if rates go to 6.5 or 6 1/4, someone's going to be willing to pay more than my neighbor paid, right? So I can get it for 650. They paid 670. Maybe at 6 1/4, it's a $700,000 home. And so, it's the whole point, in my opinion, of your channel, my channel, most of us that are out there trying to just empower people through education. The more you know, the more work you put in, the better decisions you make.
This is something that I might want to do if I were you. Again, this is just an idea that came to me. What I would do with someone today that's looking at a home, I'm just going to make up a number, 500 grand. And today's interest rate, again, I'm going to make up, say it's 7.5. What I would do for them is I would do the math at, okay, let's pretend it's 500 grand and the actual interest rate is 6. Your payment is Y.
Mm-hmm.
How much lower do you have to offer to get the same payment at 7.5? I don't know what that math looks like. I don't know if it's 11% or 13%, but there is some number where you can write a disrespectful offer at today's interest rate and get a payment like it's 6.5%. Folks, The amount of demand destruction we are seeing today means even home buyers should be writing disrespectful offers. Trust me, if you know what the payment is at 6.5, but you have to pay 7.5, just write a better offer.
Yeah.
I mean,
And just to add on to that, Mike, I think that these are great conversations that buyer and agent can have together. Agent expresses that to the other side, and then a listing agent that talks to somebody who's got a listing in Florida that's been on the market for 97 days, just say, hey, listen, these buyers can't afford $3,300 a month to get their payment to $3,000 where they want it. Here's the price they can pay. Exactly. If rates were at 6%, they could pay the price that you're asking, but they're not. They're at 7.5. So at 7.5,
what do you want to do? Exactly.
Here's their number. And sometimes, honestly, it's this magic thing that they go, that makes sense. I wouldn't want a $3,300 payment either, right? And so, you know what, honey? Like, we might have to sell this for 8% lower than we thought, for 10% lower than we thought. And that's the stuff that's going on in real time. And it's more exaggerated in some markets than others. But, Florida and Texas come to mind because some of these sellers, you're on the market for 90 or 120 days. The market has spoke. That price you have on the price tag currently is not the price you're going to get.
Yeah. But Carlos, we're going to go back to you again. I love the fact, that you talk about being kind of on the edge of your seat, but you're still going out there looking for opportunities. Because again, when there's chaos, when there's fear, that's where investors strike. That's where you get your best deals, your best opportunities. So, what do you think of all this? What's going on in your world?
Well, honestly, I never told you. I think when COVID hit, I was listening to you already. I didn't understand it, but you were always bringing something up. When I hear you now talk, I'm paying attention.
Nice.
I'm really listening, and I'm really okay. So how do I adjust? How do I make things happen? And so I think one of the things that I could tell you personally what's happening with me is I'm observing what I'm doing right and what I'm doing wrong. And those are the things that I'm doing wrong, I'm correcting, and which means that I got to do most of the work myself in order to be able to increase the numbers. And that's just going back to basics. And so in this case, for anybody who is, hey, you got to go back to basics and start kind of adapting to what the market is doing. And
love that.
But the opportunity to do more is there. I remember my very first deal was actually doing what I do is handyman. Someone called me for an outlet. I did the repair, and I noticed because I was aware of what was going on in the market. I was understanding how to buy off-market property. In this case, I understand what the market is doing. So now I got to figure out what could I offer to a customer, just like what Matt was saying. The offer about interest rate at 7%. Maybe the seller wants to do a deal with you, but you have to prepare the deal. And that is what what I could tell anybody who is in my shoes. You need to prepare a deal, an offer that would benefit the other person and also yourself, and make it work. Make it work, guys. I think one of the things that I think we don't get taught a lot is that you got to make it work. And if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a business owner, you don't have the luxury to say I can't or I won't. I'm not an employee. I'm self-employed. I need to figure this out. I'm not nobody's. If I take a day off, that nothing gets done. And so that is something that I feel like a lot of people need to understand and get a kick in the ass. Bro, shake it off, whatever is going on, and get out there, because nobody's coming to rescue us. Nobody's going to save us, and we got to get our crap together, and whatever we're flaking on, we got to correct it. And so that's the reality that as I'm moving forward, like, hey man, there's some things I need to dial in, and we just got to do it. There's no excuses. And I think that's something you told me once. No excuses, Carlos. No excuses. And that is true. Yeah.
There you go.
So anyways, anybody
like it.
who's out there. Yeah.
I like it. Well, Carlos, you do a lot of work. You do a lot of work for Olivia and I out in Fresno. If somebody wanted to get a quote, bid, second set of eyes, what number should they be calling?
Oh, definitely. Give us a call at 559-681-8431. 559-681-8431.
Yep. And you will get his lovely wife, Martha, which will
Yeah.
lead to a conversation with Carlos. So again, thank you for all you do, Carlos. Matt, where
Thank you,
should
Mike.
somebody go to get started?
Go to greatmortgagebroker.com. We're licensed in 48 states. Whether it's purchase or refinance, a lot of this talk is real life stuff. I'm in the
Mhm.
trenches. I'm having conversations with people every single day. I sent something to my past client database recently, and the title was, "This might be the most important email I've ever sent." And it was something that was on my heart to share. People are going through tough times,
Mhm.
and sometimes they're embarrassed. They don't want to have that conversation. Don't want to admit it. I just got one of the coolest, most fulfilling messages I've ever got from somebody, Mike, because it was a simple little home equity line of credit that, quite honestly, we don't make much of anything on. But this client was struggling. They were hurting. Times are tough. And a $25,000 debt load over different credit cards was just drowning them, and it was weighing on them. A HELOC pays that off. It's one fixed rate payment, and the weight was lifted, right?
Mm.
And so I know that while on the purchase side, there's uncertainty, and there's some people that are sitting on the sidelines, don't know whether it's the right time to buy or when they're going to buy. There's also a lot of, I think, pent up demand on the refinance side, where people, when they're uncertain or they're afraid, they stand still and they don't act. This great pause, it has those people pausing as well. And so you just got to find somebody who you like and trust. I even encourage people to, maybe the first step isn't mortgage broker. Maybe the first step is a friend or somebody who's a little bit more financial savvy than you, and you want to ask them, because you don't want to be sold something that could be detrimental. And trust me, in today's environment and market, there's a lot of people out there trying to make a sale and will give you something that's detrimental to your long-term, financial well-being. But have the conversation, because I know through a lot of conversations, people are struggling and they continue to bury their head in the sand, and day after day after day, it just gets harder and heavier. And I hate that for people. The message I got made me so happy, because I could tell the weight was lifted and this person was so happy. And all it took for me was saying, if you're struggling, reach out. And they did, and problem solved. So greatmortgagebroker.com to get in touch with us.
Folks, at the end of the day, 2025 will go down historically as the year of the investor. That means a lot of people are going to be in bad spots, but investors, we can go in, find, create creative finance deals, cash deals, disrespectful offers. Money's made in the follow-up. Folks, at the end of the day, it is so easy to be in the top 1%. Just don't do what the other 99% are, which is putting their head in the sand. Guys, you're amazing. We'll talk next week. Later.
Thanks, man.
See you.